Great Gokturkmen State. Established, 552 Distribution 745 Founder, Buman Kagan Language, Old Turkmen Religion Tengrisism Capital, Otukent. As long as the sky above does not collapse, as long as the ground below is not pierced, who can disrupt your province and ceremony? These words are the heart cry of Bilge Kagan, which echoed throughout the Turkic world in the middle of the 8th century. The Gokturkmen state was a powerful empire that left its mark on the history of Asia. They were warriors, heroes, and believing in the sacred power given by Tenren, they established a great civilization that ruled these lands. Buman Kagan, the founder of the state, knew that strength comes from unity and that if he did not unite all Turkmens, his people would eventually become slaves to China or any other state. Buman Kagan was looking at the sky on his horse, following the stars. The dream of an empire began to flash before his eyes. But first he had to break the terrible rule of the Avars. The Gokturkmen army under Buman Khan, their strength is in numbers, our strength is in unity, and marched on the Avar army. The battle began at sunset on the plain. The Avar army was large but disorganized and dispersed. Buman Kagan used this to his advantage. We strike like lightning and retreat like thunder, he told his soldiers. The Gokturkmen horsemen continued to advance, panicking the Avars. Although the Avar army seemed to be victorious against these sudden attacks, they were suddenly defeated. Buman Kagan's strategy was based on the idea of stronger together. In 552, Buman Kagan won a great victory against the Avars and founded the Gokturkmen state. This victory changed the balance of power in Asia. Without unity there is no power, without power there is no justice, without justice there is no Turkmen people. With these words, Buman Kagan gathered all tribes under a single banner and established a great empire based on this spirit. After Buman Kagan, Gokturkmen were divided into East and West Turkmen states due to civil wars. Istemi Khan, brother of Buman Khan, became the head of the Western Turkmen state. Istemi Khan was a leader whose tongue and heart were stronger than the sword. In addition to expanding the borders of the Western Turkmen, he also increased the economic power of the empire by controlling the Silk Road. He knew very well how to use diplomacy as a weapon. By establishing strong relations with Byzantium, China and Persia, he made the Western Turkmen Empire the ruler of the region. Gokturkmen Khaganate reached its real power during the reign of Mukan Kagan, the son of Buman Kagan. Mukan Khan was a ruler who shone like the sun, blew like the wind, and was known for his strategic genius. Under the leadership of Mukan Kagan, the thundering voices shook the world. One of the most important goals of Mukan Kagan was to protect the borders of the empire from China. Tenri gave strength to the Turkmen army. Mukan Kagan used war tactics to demoralize the enemy and create strategic advantage. China had a large and powerful army, but the Gokturkmen surprised them with the speed of their lightning-like attacks. Mukan Kagan's military strategy was based on exhausting the enemy and advancing fast on the battlefield. The Chinese army was crushed under the speed and power of the Gokturkmen cavalry led by Mukan Kagan with great intelligence. This victory made the Gokturkmen Khaganate one of the most powerful empires in history, and China was forced to surrender. With the victory of Mukan Khan, the star of the Turkmen world shone even brighter. This victory of Mukan Khan showed the world the power and capabilities of the Gokturkmen Khaganate. At the same time, it was the first great proof to the Turkmen people of what can be done together and in unity. Due to internal and external factors, the Gokturkmen Khaganate was divided into two powers, Eastern Gokturkmen and Western Gokturkmen. Two leaders, two different ideas and two different ways. Then the two Khans started to fight with each other. This division made both states weak and vulnerable to external enemies. The possibility of two separate empires living as a single power disappeared. With the rise of the Gokturkmen state, Turkmens made their mark on the world stage, but the empire collapsed due to internal turmoil and enemy attacks. However, the fate of the Turkmens did not end there. In the mid-7th century, a ray of hope emerged from the ruins of the Gokturkmen Khaganate. The second Gokturkmen Khaganate was reborn under the leadership of Bilge Khagan. In the mid-7th century, the Gokturkmen Empire flourished in the vast deserts of Central Asia. At this time, the warrior leader Bilge Khagan was on the throne. After the death of Bilge Khagan's father Ilturish, he ascended the throne, but the Gokturkmen were completely exterminated. The Tang dynasty was behind the rebels in eastern Turkmenistan and was looking for an opportunity to weaken the Gokturkmen. Bilge Khagan ordered several bold decrees to unite the country and restore it to its former glory. Bilge Khagan was a cunning strategist who always thought about the interests of his country. To demonstrate his military prowess, he met with one of his most important men, the cunning and masterful vizier Tonyuk and his brother Kultijan. Tonyuk is an experienced warrior who knows the weaknesses and defense strategies of the Chinese. The two powerful minds prepared a plan of attack against Luoyang, the capital of the Chinese Empire. Luoyang was a heavily fortified city. Bilge Khagan, who came to Luoyang with his troops, approached the city. By cutting the food routes of the city, they gradually began to weaken the Tang army. He investigated the weak points of the walls and identified strategic points. They started rebellions among the city people through spies. This crisis weakened the Tang administration and shattered the defense forces. When Bilge Khagan realized that the city was defenseless, he gave the order to attack. The Turkmen army attacked from the city gates and dealt heavy blows to the Chinese. The army of the sage fought bravely and inflicted a heavy defeat on the Chinese army. This victory made Bilge Khagan the most important leader of the Gokturkmen Empire. With this victory, he wrote his name in golden letters in history as a wise leader and a brilliant military strategist. Saying, "Let us keep the great spirit of our ancestors alive," Bilge Khagan created the Orkhon inscriptions to pass on his achievements and the history of the empire to future generations. These inscriptions, like a shining star in the sky, are not only a masterpiece of Turkmen art, but also an expression of the power of the Gokturkmen. The collapse of the Second Turkmen Khaganate marked the end of an era in Turkmen history. However, the Turkmen struggle did not end with this. The Uyghurs and other Turkmen states that came after them took the legacy of the Gokturkmen and continued the course of Turkmen history. Gokturkmen state was one of the brightest periods of Turkmen history. The epic story of the Gokturkmens continues to be a source of pride for all Turkic states.